Apple AirPods unboxing. Is that what you're looking for? That's what I've got. So, I've delayed long enough in getting these things. I've been waiting to see how other people enjoyed them, to see what their reviews were, whether they actually liked them, whether they were worth the $159 that I was going to have to come out of my wallet. So let's open these up and have a look. So the Apple AirPods, it seems like a pretty simple, basic concept of a product, right? It doesn't really seem all that difficult to set up. It seems like a very, very easy one, actually, to set up and install and use. And I had to think about these for a little while because, that $159, it comes out of my wallet. Someone else didn't send me these. It didn't just magically appear. So I had to really kind of sit here and think about, is it worth spending $159 for headphones when I have another set of headphones that seem to do just fine? Of course, there are some pros and cons to them, so of course I'll talk about those as well. So be sure to watch to the end of this video where I talk about some of the pros and cons of why I actually bought these, and we'll actually check out the sound quality as well, or I'm going to attempt to check out the sound quality. So let's start off by, of course, we're going to open up the box. It still has the plastic wrap on it. I actually just got back from the mall just 5 minutes ago, and so we'll go ahead and try and break into the plastic here. Maybe not so successfully. So Jeeps can get you out of all sort of trouble when you're off-road. Well, maybe Jeep keys can get you out of trouble opening AirPod boxes, right? So go ahead and open up the box here, get the plastic wrap off, and of course just slides open like so. And of course you've got the standard little designed by Apple in California that they put on pretty much most of their products, if not all of them. I don't have all of Apple's products, of course, but I do tend to like Apple's products as far as their general product design, their ease of use. They seem to just work well. And in the Apple ecosystem, if you have multiple products, they just tend to work well together. I've got the Apple AirPort Extreme here at home. I use the MacBook Pro. I do have an iPad that I don't really use. My daughter actually uses it. But I've got my iPhone. They integrate seamlessly all with each other. So, of course, in the little book here, I would imagine there's probably another Apple sticker to add to my collection. But we've got the AirPods kind of instruction booklets. Not too terribly large. Of course, again, there shouldn't be a whole lot of instructions for something this large, right? Looks like another instruction booklet or something on safety and handling. And then another little booklet. And oh no, did they not include a sticker these days? Apple, there's no sticker in your box. So, the box without the sticker. So we'll take a look at the box next here. So of course you've got the little carrying case for them that also acts as the charger for the AirPods themselves. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. And of course it's got a little plastic around it, so we'll pull that off. Just like so. Okay. And then of course the moment you've all been waiting for. Seeing if there's anything else under here, right? And still no sticker. But we do at least have the cable to connect to the little box that the AirPods are in. The cable is a USB to Lightning cable. That wasn't what you were waiting for, was it? Okay, let's go ahead and actually open up the box then. So here's the moment you've been waiting for. There they are. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and check these out. So there's one. Alright, so I can't seem to get the camera to focus on it very well. I guess being a white product, kind of like this, it does not want to show it, but you might be able to barely see. There's a little L over here at the bottom of the AirPod, and of course that's going to be my left one. And then we'll go ahead and pull out the right one as well. And of course it as well has a little R down at the bottom. It helps kind of keep them separate, right? And while the case is open, there is a tiny little green light that of course turns off after a few seconds. but I would imagine that kind of shows us that there is at least a little bit of a charge. We'll kind of figure out how these work as we go along here. So while we're working here, let's go ahead and get them charging up. It should be pretty simple. Of course, with the MacBook Pro, I do have to get out a USB Type A to USB Type C adapter. So we'll go ahead and unwrap these. So I've got a lightning cable handy to connect to it. There we go. So I'll run my USB Type A to USB Type C adapter, and then we'll plug it in just right over here. And then we'll put these in the case here. And it looks like that's kind of nice. They actually kind of snap in with a little magnet, so you can't even turn it upside down and have them fall out. So, very nice. Good job, Apple. Now, I know some of you guys may be looking at my shirt and going, he's just an Apple fanboy. He loves everything that Apple does. Not so much. I do like Apple's products. I do have to give Apple a lot of credit for being really good with their engineering, for being really good with product design. Even though I'm an IT geek and I like a lot of the ways that different technology works, I want technology to do my work for me. You know, people tell me about, you know, how their Android phones are customizable and this and that and the other. That's great. I'm not looking for something that's very customizable. I want something that does its job. So my iPhone, I turn it on, I use it. The only customization I've even done is actually changing the background and the home screen. Other than that, I haven't even changed my ringer. I've got the default Apple ringer, and it just works for me. I add the apps that I need, and it's a tool. Just like I don't customize, you know, power saw or my drill or anything else, I really don't have a whole lot of need for customizing too many of these things. I just want something that comes out of the box and it works like it's supposed to. Now, that's not to say that everything that Apple has made has been perfect either. I'm so far really not overly impressed by the Touch Bar on the MacBook Pro. But you know, these so far, from everything I've read, you know, since it is a fairly basic type device, it should actually function pretty well, right? So, of course, I've got them charging up right now, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the user manual here. So it does talk about how to connect with iOS 10 or later, follow steps 1 through 3. So we'll go ahead and see if we can actually pair these here in just a moment. Looks like basically turn on Bluetooth on your phone, easy enough. Then of course you connect the AirPods and then you start listening. So it's 3 steps. Wow. Pretty simple, which I guess of course should be expected, right? So let's see if we can go ahead and get this to pair with my phone here. So of course to do that, first I need to turn on Bluetooth, right? So to do that, of course, I can just hit the power button here, just swipe up, and of course you can see that my Bluetooth icon is currently not on, so we're going to go ahead and turn that on here. Okay, so I've got Bluetooth on, step 1. Okay, so step 2 says to connect the AirPods, open the case, hold near an unlocked iPhone, and then follow the on-screen instructions. So we'll go ahead and unlock my phone. So here's an unlocked phone, and then we're going to go ahead and open up the case for the AirPods, and it says AirPods connect. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on connect. We see that it's connecting, and then it's done. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so not a whole lot of pairing that really has to go through there. Okay, so you might be asking, what do the AirPods sound like? You know, is there actually good sound quality? And I've been wondering the same thing myself. And so I actually just did a real quick test before I recorded this part of the video and figured, let's just see what it sounds like. And so I'm actually using the AirPods right now. In fact, even though I've got the Yeti microphone sitting here, you'll notice that I can unplug it. I'm not using the Yeti. I'm actually using the AirPods to make this video right now. So of course the audio seemed to me to actually be a really good quality, at least when I'm just recording straight onto the computer with the recording software here. So why did I get AirPods? You know, I've had a number of students ask me, you know, when are you going to be getting them? And, you know, I've always said, you know, I'm still looking at the reviews. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to pull that money out of my pocket. And of course, one of the issues that I have is that I travel quite a bit. In fact, I've done, I think, 13,000 miles or so far this year, and today is February 10th. And it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. And of course, while most of the flights that I take do have the, you know, screen in the back of the headrest, and I can sit there and watch movies during the flight, Some of the times that I'm flying, there's not actually a screen in the back of the headrest. So for instance, if it's, a little CRJ 900 or, possibly something even smaller, if it's just a regional flight out to, Shreveport, or if I'm going up to, for instance, I'm going to Indiana next week, I don't expect there to be a screen on the back of the seat. And so, of course, I'll probably want to watch some sort of movie or something like that on my phone instead. And of course, the AirPods make it so that I don't have to pull out yet another pair of earpods from my backpack, which is usually up in the overhead compartment. Now, of course, the other problem that I have is that if I want to talk on the phone and decide that I need my hands to be able to type on the computer or whatever else, the phone doesn't exactly just sit here, up my shoulder very easily, as I'm sitting here trying to work with my hands. So essentially what I would have to do is pull the earpods out of my bag. And of course, they're all tangled up. And since I've got two pairs of earpods in there, one that's a standard, microphone jack that we've been used to for so long, the old analog connection, or as well as the pair that uses the lightning jack, I've got to figure out which pair is which, and then I've got to sit here and untangle it. And of course, if you're talking on the phone to someone, you've got to basically put them on hold for, 20, 30, 40 seconds, whatever it is, to be able to do that. There's other times where, if I'm driving down the road, most of the rental cars do have Bluetooth on them that I use, but there are times where, for whatever reason, the Bluetooth isn't paired yet, or I just don't feel like pairing it. And so it's very easy for me to actually just pull one of these out of my pocket, stick it in, and be able to talk going down the road. Some states do have laws against using a wired headset, but you can still use a wireless or Bluetooth earpiece. So in those kind of scenarios, I want to make sure that I'm following the law as much as possible, and these can actually help me do that as well. So what else influenced my decision? Since I travel so much, I still need to keep in touch with people like my wife or my daughter. And of course, they like to FaceTime, right? They want to see your face as you're talking to them. So when you're setting the iPhone down, again, finding the right headphones here. So when you're setting the iPhone down, you'll notice that since the wired earpods plug into the bottom, if you don't want to have to sit here and hold it, if you want to set it down somewhere, that means that you're basically trying to balance on that little point here, right? Which, sure, it'll balance like this against the screen of the computer. But for whatever reason, when it's at an angle, some people don't like saying the tilted image. So then, of course, you end up turning it on its side, which, of course, does work. But that solves another problem for me. Another problem is that sometimes I actually use a wired connection to plug into the car and charge the phone as I'm driving down the road, or charging maybe at my desk or wherever else I might happen to be. And since Apple decided to go to the one lightning port with no earphone jack, that means, of course, that I'm taking up the only ability to use headphones at that time, right? This means that I can now talk on the AirPods versus having to actually use a wired connection to my phone. And that kind of comes in handy for instances where I'm driving down the road and my battery's running low because I've been talking on the phone for a little while. And so I need to plug in to get some power. But at the same time, I still want to be able to talk on the phone. So, of course, sometimes I've had to actually swap over to speakerphone so I didn't have to sit there and hold the phone up against my head while I'm driving down the road. Some of these road trips that I take on weekends when I'm, in California or Washington or wherever, I might be on the road for 5 or 6 hours or so, heading towards Death Valley or some hot springs, whatever. So having something that's, nice and convenient, definitely works out well. That I don't have to worry about pairing it every single time that I get in a new vehicle, or whatever the case may be. So that is it. That is the Apple AirPods. So far, I'm rather impressed with the sound quality that I've heard from them, and the recommendations that I've seen from other people seem to sound like they'll work out well for me. I'll give you an update perhaps here in a few months after I've actually had a chance to really use them. But until then, click on that subscribe button down below. If you like the video, click on the like button. And of course, if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down in the comments below. I certainly appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next time. You guys take care.